This morning I left Dangerfield State Park before dawn, and driving I was able to see the light begin to illuminate the misty landscape, and I was blown away. It was an absolute beautiful, stunning morning, and I took every chance I could to stop and take in the beautiful, bucolic glory of this Texas country morning. And wouldn't you know it, I made it to my destination just as the sun was beginning to rise over the lake. Oh, hello, I'm Jay. And this is Lake Bob Sandlin State Park. Now, I'm no expert, but what I have found is that if you get out and about early in the morning around sunrise at the Texas state parks, you will be able to spot many of the local inhabitants of that park. And on this morning, I was able to spot a javelina, or a wild hog. We crossed paths while I was en route to one of the park trailheads so that I could get in a hike while it was still cool. I think we're gonna try this. I am here. What if we went down the Homestead Trail and back? That's just under a mile. And then we did the loop past Trout Pond and took the Dogwood Cutoff. We'll eventually go down here in park, take Dogwood down and back, and the Brim Pond Trail to the Lakeview Loop, and maybe do the whole thing. Okay, Strava is running. Let's hit the trail. Not far down the trail, you can see where it gets its name. This is the marker for the homestead of the Costin family. What a beaut. Let's go back. All right, part one. Now part two. I refuse to complain about the noise on the trail because I am fortunate enough to get out and simply enjoy it. But God bless the groundskeeper who make it possible to travel these well-maintained trails. I'll move the car. I just did the out and back to finish the, I don't know, whatever that loop was up by the trout pond. Now we'll go down to the lakeside loop, jump in. I don't know if you can see the sweat beaded up on my skin. Feels a little humid, but it's pretty cool. Maybe 70, 73, something like that. Beautiful morning for a run. Let's keep it going. After completing my run and cooling off, I was already back down by the lake, and I noticed that view that I first saw coming over the bridge, and I really think that's what I want to lock in on for my painting. It's another water scene. Wouldn't it be great, though, to capture my first impression of Lake Bob Sandlin? And wouldn't it be awesome if I could get away from using the same Viridian sap green that I've been using painting after painting and do something super colorful? When my video at Atlanta State Park, I talked about stylization as a set of choices that limits what you can do. I chose to do only vertical brush strokes, either coming down or painting upward, and the advantage was intentional mark making that allowed me to piece things together as I was moving up in the painting. That was kind of fun. Then at Dangerfield State Park, I went for a stylization that was kind of like Inception, a symbolic representation, the text, on top of a visual representation, the painting, on top of an already abstracted version of the park map itself. Today, I'm going to think back to how bright red the sun was when I first showed up on the lake, and how pink and lavender the sky was, along with orange and yellow clouds. And I'm just going to go wild with the color.
I drew the duck blue because I've never seen a blue duck.
I start with a pencil sketch to lay out the composition, and as I'm doing it, I'm thinking about Andre Durain and the Fauves. They were one of the first group of artists to abandon using color the way they were observing it in nature and to really try to push the artistic envelope in terms of color. In order to walk in his footsteps, I turned to some chromatic color families, the cadmiums and the cobalts. Don't you hate those cooking shows where they take you to the end and they're like, yeah, I've done all the prep work, and then I just throw it in the oven so you don't actually get to see any of the process? Well, I went and did that. So I mixed up a couple things, like a creamsicle color for the reflected water and in the sky. I mixed up some colors for the near line of trees, slightly more distant line of trees. And then it was a misty morning, so I'm going to try to put in this for the mist. It's not very light. I may end up adding some white, but I don't want to add too much because I want everything to be colorful. Then for everything else, I think this is going to be my sun. I think these colors are just going to be blended together for my sky. And I might have to do a pale blue, almost like a gray version of this to make the sky work above that. But we're just going to take this simple drawing and we're going to really mess around with color. This is going to be the basis for everything else. Sort of a blood red sun reflecting off there. See if we can't get it just a little bit lighter to show that color. Again, if white helps to show the color, great. If it makes it too dingy, I'm out. Distant hills. All right, mist. A little bit of mist rising up into the sky. This will have to get blended in. And we'll have a little bit of mist between the nearer trees and the farther ones. Okay, nearer trees. It's not even different in value than the more distant trees, but kind of like that I'm not worried about value as much as color. Every once in a while you gotta break free. Okay, we're gonna go teal to magenta. Magenta to creamsicle. I just couldn't go too dull. Let's take this up to the top. Okay, maybe this was a little bit more like the baking show where we jump from the prep work to the finished product. But I didn't think anybody would want to sit and watch me blend. So I'm just gonna drop in a couple fun little finishing touches. Like I'm going to counterpoint an orange cloud here and a yellow cloud here. So I'm going to make my yellow cloud just as yellow as you can imagine. And I'm going to make my orange cloud pure cadmium orange. I might bring a little yellow into one, orange into the other, but we're about to call this a finished painting. It was simple, it was different, it was fun, and that's what I was looking for this morning. It's an exaggeration of color. There we go. Bye-bye, Bobby. I'm heading to Lake Tawakoni.